and it kicks off in the welterweight division as we have Charles Radtke coming in at -170, going up against Francisco Prado, who comes in at +145. Now, Radtke is coming off of a dominant finish of Daniel Frunza last time, and that was a fight where I felt that Frunza's takedown defense would have held up well enough and forced Radtke to strike with him. From there, I expected Frunza to be the better striker and the guy that was going to dish out more damage and potentially find the knockout. But Radtke put on solid pressure and mixed in his striking well enough to eventually get to his grappling, and it seemed halfway through the second round that Frunza was broken, and Radtke eventually showed him the door at the ending of the third round by getting the submission victory. He is now 2-2 over his last 4 fights and had fallen in love with the striking a little bit more than he should have, and I think that's what led to his 2 UFC losses to Carlos Prates and Mike Malott. But we saw a great all-around performance from him last time against Frunza, kind of reassuring that he should lean more on that grappling and trying to utilize his power punching style to get to his opponent, get the clinch, drag the fight to the ground, and then eventually get to his BJJ black belt from there. He is 35 years old, so he's not a guy that's going to find himself in title contention, but he is more than aggressive and entertaining enough to go out there and fight for Fight of the Night honors or even Performance of the Night honors. I like what he brings to the table, and he's going to try to build some momentum now as he goes up against the 23-year-old Argentine Francisco Prado. Now, Prado is 1-4 in his last 5 fights, really struggling as of late. He's riding a 3-fight losing streak, most recently coming up short against Nikolai Veretennikov in a matchup where he really struggled to try to get to his striking advantage. I thought he would be looking to throw bombs and combinations, but he decided to go out there and grapple the bigger man, and I think that really threw a wrench into his plans. I will say this. I had the slight plus money on Veretennikov that night, but as the scorecards were being read, I wasn't confident that he would end up getting his hand raised. But luckily, Veretennikov had 2 judges convinced that he deserved to win at least 2 out of 3 of those rounds. That was a fight where I thought Prado grappled more than he should have. But even when he did decide to strike with Veretennikov got off on better shots. So it's kind of demoralizing for Prado, who's been outstruck by Jamie Malarkey, Daniel Zellhuber, Jake Matthews, and then obviously Nikolai Veretennikov as well, because that's supposed to be where he is strongest. Why he decided to go up to 170 pounds is beyond me, but he's still looking to find success there as he goes up against Charles Radtke this weekend. Again, Prado, in my opinion, was best when he can utilize his power, his striking, just as he showed off again against Otman Azaitar, but he hasn't been able to do so otherwise in the UFC. Now here against Radtke, you're going to be expecting Radtke to get to his clinch, get to his takedowns, and really start to wear on Prado with his grappling. But I think Prado could potentially show some decent resistance and force Radtke to strike more than he wants to. I thought Frunza would be the perfect kryptonite to Radtke's game, but his takedown defense did not hold up well enough, whereas Prado might be able to. I think Prado has a better gas tank than Frunza as well, and that could potentially cause Radtke some issues. With that said, I believe Radtke has a good enough grappling game that he can mix in his power striking, eventually get in on the hips of Prado, drag this fight to the ground, and have some success there. Not a whole lot to the point that I'd be confident on him at -170, but I still think he has a good enough shot to keep in this fight on his terms, and that should lead to him grinding this fight out and winning it on the scorecards.